Does fear ride you, drive you, motivate you, cause you to do things simply because you're afraid? Fear has a driving force. It'll motivate your mind, your thinking, everything. It'll motivate you to react, to do whatever you think you should do simply out of fear. I know of a couple right now, and I'll even name them because they're a lovely couple. And that is Greg and Rebecca Norman. And they have the One Source Network. And they don't do a thing without prayer. Now you can look at them and you can say, well, they make a lot of mistakes. They do things that I would not do. And, if that's the way you think and feel, well, feel that way. But I want to tell you about what God sees, the treasure of what God sees, and perhaps He sees it in you. They pray over everything. And sometimes you think that God won't lead you to do this, won't lead you to do that, but you can't judge another person because you're not those other people. You are who you are, and your business is between you and God. Well, so is theirs. And I'm going to tell you, I have such confidence in Greg and Rebecca because I have seen them pray. Everything is about prayer first. They pray before they make a move. They pray before they go anywhere. They pray. That is awesome. I went outside. It felt like something landed in my hair. Anyway, if more people prayed, you feel the fear, pray, talk to God. God, I'm telling you, He'll never forsake you. God, should I be afraid? Should I think this? Should I think that? Find the power that tries to tell you anything. I can remember my daughter. She woke up one morning, like bent over like this. She was 18 years old. And she was bent over like this, and she was hurting. Immediately, I prayed. And I knew that it was her lungs. I knew that. And I didn't know how to drive then. And so I went to my husband and I said, I'm going to take her to the emergency room. I think it's what's going to happen. And he says, no, I did know how to drive. By that time I did. Okay, so I did. He said, Marion, it's only a pain in the side. I said, God tells me it's more than that. I'm going to take her to the emergency room. Now, I didn't do that out of fear. I did that out of obeying instructions because the first thing I did was went and prayed. So when I got there, the emergency room doctor, he said, oh, that's nothing to worry about. I forget. It's been so long, I forgot what he said because it's been about 30 years ago. And he told me it was because of, I don't know what. And I said to him, no, it's her lungs. He said, well, we can x-ray her, but I don't think she needs it. I think she's going to be all right. I think you should take her home. She's going to be fine. And I said, no, it's her lungs. So they got the head of the emergency room, and he gave me his opinion. No, it's not that serious. And I told him again, it's her lungs. So finally, they decided to do an x ray, and a lobe of her lung had already collapsed. By that night, she had 105 temperature and she had pneumonia. And they had a nurse, because she had severe asthma, and they had a nurse watching her the whole night through as I laid there next to her. She had 105 temperature. If I would have listened to anybody, if I would have become afraid to, to listen to the doctor, to listen to anybody but God, and if I would have become afraid she was going to die, perhaps she would have. But I was not afraid. I knew that God had the whole thing happen for a purpose to save her. It was amazing that it did not manifest until she was already safe in the hospital where they could take care of her. It was amazing to me. God pulled her through that. Where would I have been with my daughter had I not known how to hear the Lord? I'd have still been sitting there going, now I got to ask God about this, and I've got to ask God about that, and I've got to. But you see, I had already learned to trust Him. I had already had years of experience with God in Him leading and guiding me and not making a move without prayer. I had already had that. And therefore, God was able to intervene and save my daughter. Now, everybody knows my daughter passed away just recently at the age of 58. But even then, God told me He was going to take her. Even then, I had to trust in Him. I could not be afraid that she was going to die, that this was going to happen. I could not be afraid for her soul. I couldn't do none of that. I had to believe that no matter how evilly people lie and cheat and do whatever they're going to do and think that they know God and this is going to happen to her and that's going to happen to her, I know she's safe in Him. For God will never desert His children. A part of your body He will not allow to not go into heaven. My only daughter is in heaven. And the way the Lord witnessed that to me was unbelievable. Where would I have been if I would have been afraid? Oh, I saw this happen. I saw this, and it's, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? Oh God, what's going to happen? And I couldn't do that. I had to face it all with complete and absolute trust, knowing that God was never going to allow anything to come and take my daughter. The same thing happened with my mother. I could have been terrified because you see, with my mother's mental condition, was it possible for her to know God? And I would have had to been so upset and so, no. The Lord had me hold her hand. I was there when she passed. And I saw death try to come, and it could not stay, for God took her. And I'm going to tell you what, I've been at the deathbed of many people, and I know Some will call me and say, well, he died at such and such a time. And I'll say, no, he died at this time. I was there in the spirit. And sure enough, they'd call me back and say, he passed away at that hour that you said. Knowing and understanding how to trust in God and not fear anybody or anything. Don't give in to fear. Don't give in to fear of the unknown. When you hear a tragedy, when you hear something, don't be afraid. Let Him comfort you. Let Him keep you. Let Him reveal things to you.